Have you seen the man of half there? His legs are crossed on the old oak chair, his heart's in the cupboard, his foot's on the stair, and his smile hangs in the cold, thin air. He comes in the night to whisk you away to the planets and stars of an old galaxy that you cannot see with your naked eye, to show you there's more than what hangs in the sky. There's time and there's space, and each one's a place, a point on the map between lost and misplaced. And you can go home, but you'll never live there. You'll leave your head on the old oak chair. Your heart's in his hand, and there's blood on the stairs. And you'll long every day to disappear in thin air. We arrive in 1930. At the moment my grandparents meet. The light is what strikes me the most, the difference between now and then. But I know, mathematically, that the stars I can see then will not be the stars that I see now. So the pattern above the restaurant that they will be standing outside of is not the one that was above me when I stood in front of it for the first time, and with the addition of street lamps and security lights and 100 little apartment windows on the sidewalk opposite. The new pattern is obscured. Light pollution, they call it. The man of half there told me when took is the wrong word. Abduct is the wrong word. When I didn't recoil. When his hand reached out and I didn't pull away. When I accepted the kindness of travel. He told me that time travel was sneaky. When I was a little girl, I fell down a hole, a well, a flight of stairs to the basement, to somewhere dark. So I'm well acquainted with the feeling of falling. I tumble from the spaceship into the red sand, and it's glorious. Because when offered the choice for the first time, when you're asked, where do you want to go? This is what you pick. The first thing you want to see. A myth. A god. I sit there grinning like the biggest idiot on an empty world, and his head is against my head, and there's a hum. A tune. Welcome to Mars, it's open all hours. I spent the whole summer after the fall bedridden because my mother said that despite my feeling perfectly well that the attention to larger objects will be my ruin. My mother's poison in the well, spiders in the dark, a grandmother paradox. We traveled further. Beyond Mars. And when a man of half there takes you to a planet where you can see two stars in orbit around each other, you sit down cross-legged and you reach up and you take his hand, and it's impossibly cool, and you put it against your face, and it's as stiff and as delicate as a beetle swing. And you watch the slow courtship of the suns in an elliptical orbit, swapping around of the heart and the head, 4 walls, and an indescribable surface area. Speed increases and you see your existence from all angles at once. As a girl, I felt like I was held somewhere in a binary system. The orbit of grandma going stiff and Grandpa leans in. You think you know the moment when it all went wrong. You watch all moments, the distance between her and him, and the next her and him, and the me and whomever. All bad moments hung in the air. Even now, I watch the night sky like a cat watches dust in a sunbeam. I don't see the world the way that you do. Alone in my room, watching the sunlight and the shadows, I became a story. A character. Not the girl who would follow a pattern. I'd be the girl who fell. Who dropped from the orbit of loveless pairings. No light from dead stars. The girl who fell doesn't wake like a normal child. She flings herself out of bed like a rag doll thrown from a bedroom window, an arc. The floppy Miss Miserable is separate from ground and sky for a moment before it all goes wonderfully and terribly wrong. The trajectory of the kiss before the shudder. The longing of the girl who fell to be that doll, or at very least the window, was at the heart of the inclination to read and dream, as most girls do, of closets and trunks and boxes that are doors to anyone and never here. A little girl kept like a sick bird by a mother who couldn't love a father, whose mother couldn't love a father. And so rather than be pulled into this infinitely regressing family curse, he takes me to a place of joy. She goes to these better places. And it's constantly drawn back to her family. 1974, and the Ramones take the stage at CBGB's for the first time. The Alphen planet Phelim builds an entire system of science and technology based on a most complex dance. My mother's head whips back from her first kiss. The four boys from Queens all move as if they're one machine that sputters and throttles forward in life, and the stars of the Alphen system are turning together. And my mother follows my grandmother into a dance with a denser star. And the boys from and the birth of punk rock screams, "Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4!" And the dance of the machines of film throws shadows against its sun. And my father advances, and my mother recoils. And there are tears on my cheek, and there are tears on my cheek, and there are tears on my cheek. For joy, for wonder, and for loss. And the man of half there shakes his head, holds my hand, smiles like a blazing constellation. And it's only in these moments of kindness that I'm even sure he's there. Between visits, my mind, it goes someplace. Every place. Anyone and never here. When you travel through space, you seek the wonderful and the alien. And when you travel through time, you always go to the end, like finding a diary you shouldn't read because you know that'll tell you something awful about yourself, but you do anyway, and you skip past anything that might reveal the character of the writer and scan for the parts that say the worst about you. You want to know the darkest thoughts of time and the universe because that is human nature. first thing you want to see is the end of everything. And the second is the end of you. The third is the historical highs in an attempt to obliterate the first two. Like the end of World War II, or the Ramones at CBGB's. And the fourth thing is the pattern. What leads to the end, and you make charts and graphs, and you track a life gone to shit, but there's too much. You can't fix every single mistake that made you, so you watch life explode in front of you as tiny, glorious moments, utterly unrelated to each other. And you try to live there as long as you can, with the man of half there. You've seen the end. The empty universe. All the lights gone out. So the fifth is the beginning. You go back to the start, the Big Bang, and you watch how a slight shift in temperature rips open the darkness and fills an empty sky. And you wonder if this will ever happen again. You can't fix your life because you can't fix the lives that came before yours. But eventually, everything will restart. Maybe it's all just a cycle of explosion and collapse, and that will find you again someday at the beginning. A chance for something to change. A new path. The way out is a rush forward. A lean. A dance. A 1, 2, 3, 4. Go.